Most people wake up every day already defeated, not by the world, not by circumstances, but by the noise inside their own head. Doubt, overthinking, comparison, emotional chaos. They call it stress, fate, bad timing. But the truth is simpler and harsher. If you don't master your mind, your life will always feel out of control. Nobody teaches you this growing up. You're taught how to obey, how to fit in, how to chase validation. You're taught what to think, but never how to think. And because of that, your emotions run your decisions, your impulses run your future, and your past runs your confidence. Mastering life is not about motivation. Motivation is temporary. Mastering life is about rules. Mental rules you live by even when you don't feel like it. Rules that protect you from your weaker self. Rules that give you clarity when emotions try to hijack your logic. The people you admire, the calm ones, the focused ones, the emotionally grounded ones, they're not special. They're trained. They trained their mind when others avoided discomfort. They chose discipline when others chose excuses. And over time, that discipline became freedom. Here are the rules, not motivational quotes, not surface-level advice. Rules that, if applied brutally and consistently, will rewire how you think, feel, and live. The first rule is simple but uncomfortable. Your mind must obey you, not the other way around. Most people think every thought they have deserves attention. It doesn't. Thoughts are not facts. Emotions are not commands. Just because you feel anxious doesn't mean something is wrong. Just because you feel lazy doesn't mean you should stop. Just because you feel angry doesn't mean you should react. Your mind produces thoughts constantly, many of them useless, fearful, exaggerated, or rooted in past wounds. If you treat every thought like a truth, you become a slave to your own head. Mental strength begins the moment you learn to pause and say, "This thought is not helpful. I will not follow it." You don't argue with it. You don't suppress it. You don't panic. You simply refuse to act on it. Discipline is not forcing positivity. Discipline is choosing behavior independent of emotion. When you wake up tired, your mind will say, "Rest today." When you feel rejected, your mind will say, "Withdraw." When you feel scared, your mind will say, "Avoid." If you obey every emotional instruction, your life will shrink, slowly, quietly, until one day you look back and realize fear made all your decisions for you. Strong people don't feel less. They just don't let feelings sit in the driver's seat. They feel fear and still move. They feel doubt and still act. They feel tired and still show up. That is mastery. Not control of emotion, but control despite emotion. The second rule, your self-respect must be stronger than your desires. This is where most lives collapse. People know what's good for them and still choose what's easy. They know who disrespects them and still stay. They know what habits are destroying them and still repeat them. Why? Because desire is loud and self-respect is quiet. Desire wants comfort now. Self-respect wants peace later. Desire wants attention. Self-respect wants dignity. Desire wants pleasure. Self-respect wants stability. If you don't consciously choose self-respect, desire will always win by default. This applies to everything: relationships, work, health, boundaries. If someone only values you when it's convenient, your desire for connection will beg you to stay. Your self-respect will tell you to walk away. If something feels addictive, numbing, or draining, your desire will justify it. Your self-respect will remove it. Every time you choose short-term relief over long-term integrity, you weaken your mind. And every time you choose integrity over impulse, you strengthen it. Confidence is not built by winning. It's built by keeping promises to yourself. When you say you'll do something and you do it, your mind starts trusting you. When you say enough and mean it, your nervous system stabilizes. When you walk away from what disrespects you, even if it hurts, you reclaim power. The strongest people are not the most desired. They are the most self-aligned. The third rule: stop negotiating with weakness. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they negotiate with their excuses. I'll start tomorrow. I just need a break. I'll do it when I feel ready. I'm not in the right headspace. Weakness loves conversation. Strength is silent. When your mind starts bargaining, that's the moment discipline is required most. You don't wait to feel ready. You act, and readiness follows. You don't wait for motivation. You move, and motivation catches up. You don't analyze endlessly. You execute imperfectly. Your future is built in moments where you do the hard thing without drama. No speech, no emotional build-up, no self-pity, just action. This is why routines matter more than inspiration. When something becomes routine, your emotions lose their power over it. You don't negotiate brushing your teeth. You don't overthink showing up to work. You don't debate basic responsibilities. Treat your growth the same way: non-negotiable, boring, consistent. The mind hates structure at first, but thrives in it later. Chaos feels exciting, but drains you. Structure feels restrictive, but frees you. People who master life simplify their choices so they don't have to rely on willpower all day. They remove temptation, they design their environment, they protect their energy. Which leads to the fourth rule: your environment shapes your mind more than your intentions. You cannot heal in the same environment that made you sick. You cannot grow while constantly surrounded by distraction, drama, negativity, or people who normalize weakness. If your environment rewards laziness, you'll struggle to be disciplined. If your environment rewards complaining, you'll struggle to take responsibility. If your environment thrives on chaos, your mind will never feel calm. This isn't about arrogance, it's about awareness. Look at what you consume daily: conversations, content, music, social media, news, people. Your mind absorbs more than you realize. If you feed it noise, it will produce confusion. If you feed it comparison, it will produce insecurity. If you feed it fear, it will produce anxiety. Mastery requires intentional input. Protect your mornings. Limit your exposure. Choose silence sometimes. Choose depth over stimulation. Loneliness is often the price of growth, but peace is the reward. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your time, or your emotional energy. Guarding your inner world is not selfish, it's strategic. The fifth rule, the most important one: detach from outcomes, commit to effort. Suffering multiplies when your happiness depends on results you can't fully control. People obsess over outcomes: success, approval, love, recognition. And when those outcomes are delayed or denied, they collapse emotionally. Effort is yours. Outcome is not. When you focus on effort, you stay grounded. When you obsess over outcome, you stay anxious. Do the work. Show up. Improve daily. Let results come in their own time. Detachment doesn't mean apathy. It means maturity. You care deeply, but you don't beg life to validate you. You understand that consistency beats intensity, that time rewards patience, that growth is invisible before it's undeniable. The calmest people are not lucky. They're unattached to timelines and comparisons. They don't rush life, they build it, and slowly something changes. Your reactions soften, your confidence stabilizes, your emotions stop controlling your identity. You become less reactive, more intentional, less desperate, more grounded, less noisy inside. This is what mind mastery looks like: not domination, not suppression, alignment. When your thoughts, values, and actions move in the same direction, life feels lighter, even when it's hard. You stop fighting yourself. You stop abandoning yourself. You stop living at war with your own mind. And that's when life starts responding differently, not because the world changed, but because you did. Master your mind, and life stops feeling like a punishment. It becomes a responsibility you're finally strong enough to carry. And once that internal alignment begins, you start noticing something most people never do. The world hasn't suddenly become kinder. You've simply become harder to destabilize. Criticism doesn't hit the same way anymore. Rejection doesn't define you. Silence doesn't scare you. Because when your mind is trained, external chaos loses its authority over your inner state. Most people are emotionally reactive because they're mentally unprepared. They live life on autopilot, letting circumstances dictate their mood. One bad interaction ruins the whole day. One delay creates frustration. One opinion shakes their confidence. A mastered mind doesn't react instantly. It observes first. Before responding, it asks, is this worth my energy? Will reacting improve anything? Is this emotion temporary or does it require action? This pause, this space between stimulus and response, is where power lives. Weak minds react, strong minds respond. And the more you practice this pause, the calmer you become. Not because life is easier, but because you've stopped adding unnecessary suffering to it. Another harsh truth people avoid: you cannot heal a mind that is addicted to distraction. Endless scrolling, constant entertainment, background noise all day. These are not harmless habits. They are avoidance mechanisms. They keep you from sitting with your thoughts, processing emotions, and confronting uncomfortable truths. Silence exposes you. That's why most people avoid it. But silence is where clarity is born. When you remove distraction, unresolved thoughts rise. Old fears surface. Doubts appear louder. This phase feels uncomfortable, but it's necessary. You cannot clean a room without first seeing the mess. Most people run back to noise at this stage. The disciplined ones stay. They sit with discomfort long enough for insight to emerge. They reflect instead of react. They understand instead of escape. And slowly the mind reorganizes itself. You begin to understand your triggers, not blame them. You notice patterns, not repeat them. You recognize emotional wounds, not project them. This self-awareness is dangerous in the best way possible, because once you see clearly, you can no longer lie to yourself. And self-deception is the biggest enemy of mastery. People say they want growth, but what they really want is reassurance without change. They want validation without responsibility. They want confidence without discipline. A mastered mind doesn't seek comfort, it seeks truth. Truth about your habits, truth about your relationships, truth about your weaknesses. And truth doesn't attack you, it liberates you. You stop taking everything personally. You stop expecting people to save you. You stop blaming circumstances for choices you keep repeating. Responsibility becomes grounding, not heavy. Because once you accept that your life is your responsibility, you regain control over it. Another level of mastery appears when you understand this. Your emotions are information, not identity. Feeling anxious doesn't mean you are anxious. Feeling lost doesn't mean you are lost. Feeling low doesn't mean you are weak. Emotions pass. Identity stays unless you fuse the two. People who say, "This is just who I am," are often trapped in emotional patterns they never questioned. They confuse familiarity with truth. A disciplined mind asks, is this emotion trying to protect me or limit me? Is this fear rational or conditioned? Is this sadness asking for rest or growth? When you decode emotions instead of drowning in them, they lose their grip. You become emotionally intelligent, not emotionally cold. And emotional intelligence is what allows you to navigate relationships without losing yourself. You stop over-explaining. You stop chasing closure. You stop forcing connections that require self-betrayal. You understand that not everything needs a reaction, and not everyone deserves access. This is when boundaries stop feeling rude and start feeling necessary. You realize that saying no doesn't make you difficult. It makes you clear. Clarity repels confusion. Clarity repels manipulation. Clarity repels chaos. And the mind thrives in clarity. Another shift happens when you stop measuring progress emotionally. Some days you'll feel confident. Other days you won't. That doesn't mean you're regressing. Feelings fluctuate. Systems don't. You judge progress by consistency, not mood. By effort, not excitement. By direction, not speed. This is why mastered minds don't quit during boring phases. They understand that boredom is a sign of stability, not failure. Drama feels productive but isn't. Consistency feels dull but compounds, and compounding is invisible until it isn't. Most people quit right before the internal breakthrough because they mistake emotional flatness for lack of progress. But those who stay, those who continue quietly, steadily, without applause, they wake up one day and realize something profound. Their mind no longer panics under pressure. Their self-worth no longer depends on validation. Their focus no longer scatters at every distraction. They have become internally anchored. And once you're anchored internally, external success becomes a side effect, not the goal. You stop chasing confidence, you embody it. You stop forcing control, you live with discipline. You stop fearing life, you meet it prepared. This is the difference between surviving and mastering. Survival reacts to life. Mastery designs it, and design requires patience, honesty, and the courage to sit with discomfort long enough for transformation to take place. Most people want change without the internal discomfort that creates it, but the truth remains unchanged. The mind you don't train will betray you when life gets heavy, and life always gets heavy, not to break you, but to reveal whether you've built inner strength or just relied on comfort. Those who train their mind early suffer less later. Those who avoid discipline early pay with regret later. Mastery is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It shows in how you carry pressure, silence, uncertainty, and time. And it begins the moment you stop asking life to be easier and start becoming stronger inside. When strength becomes internal, you stop needing constant reassurance from the outside world. Approval loses its grip. Validation becomes optional, not necessary. You no longer perform for attention, you act from alignment. Most people are exhausted not because they work too hard, but because they live in constant contradiction. They say yes when they mean no. They chase what impresses others instead of what fulfills them. Their mind knows the truth, but their actions betray it daily. That internal betrayal is what creates anxiety. A mastered mind removes contradiction. Thought, word, and action begin to match. When they don't, discomfort appears, not as punishment, but as guidance. You learn to listen to that discomfort instead of numbing it. This is where self-trust is built. You stop second-guessing every decision. You stop outsourcing your intuition. You stop needing permission to choose differently. And with self-trust comes calm. Calm is not the absence of ambition, it's the absence of inner chaos. You can want more without feeling incomplete. You can strive without feeling desperate. You can be disciplined without being harsh on yourself. Most people confuse self-discipline with self-criticism. They think being hard on themselves is strength. It isn't. It's emotional violence disguised as motivation. True discipline is firm, not cruel. It says, I know this is uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Not, you're weak if you don't do this. The mind responds better to clarity than to abuse. When you speak to yourself with respect, consistency becomes easier. Resistance softens. You stop rebelling against your own goals. And rebellion is what destroys potential. Another hidden truth. Your past only controls you if you keep visiting it emotionally. Reflection is healthy. Rumination is poison. A mastered mind extracts lessons and moves forward. It doesn't relive pain to prove how deeply it was hurt. It doesn't rehearse old conversations hoping for different outcomes. It accepts what happened without letting it define what's possible. Letting go is not forgetting. It's removing emotional charge. When emotional charge dissolves, clarity returns. You realize that many of your current fears are echoes of old experiences, not present threats. But until you separate the past from the present, your nervous system will react as if everything is danger. Mastery retrains the nervous system. You breathe before reacting. You ground yourself instead of spiraling. You choose logic when emotion exaggerates. This is not suppression, it's regulation. And regulation is what allows you to stay composed when others collapse under pressure. People often ask how to become mentally strong without becoming emotionally distant. The answer is simple. You feel deeply, but you don't bleed everywhere. You don't dump unresolved emotions onto others. You don't demand that people fix what you haven't faced. You don't confuse vulnerability with emotional leakage. Strength with softness. That balance is rare, and it's what creates respect. In relationships, this mastery becomes obvious. You stop chasing mixed signals. You stop over-investing early. You stop trying to be chosen. You show up as you are and allow alignment to decide. When your mind is mastered, attachment becomes cleaner. You don't cling. You don't withdraw. You stay present without losing yourself. And presence is magnetic, not because it tries, but because it's grounded. People feel safe around those who are internally stable. They trust those who are emotionally regulated. They respect those who don't need to prove their worth. This is why mind mastery affects every area of life: career, relationships, health, confidence, peace. You become less reactive to trends and more committed to values, less impulsive with time and more intentional with effort, less afraid of being alone and more selective about connection. Another shift occurs when you stop romanticizing struggle. Pain doesn't make you strong. How you respond to pain does. Some people stay stuck because struggle has become their identity. They don't know who they are without chaos. So when life becomes calm, they self-sabotage. A mastered mind allows peace to exist without guilt. You stop thinking you need to suffer to deserve success. You stop equating stress with importance. You stop glorifying burnout. You understand that sustainable growth feels steady, not dramatic. This steadiness is what creates longevity, and longevity is the real flex. Anyone can sprint for motivation. Few can walk daily with discipline. Mastery is choosing the long road when the shortcut tempts you. It's choosing character when nobody is watching. It's choosing restraint in a world addicted to excess. Slowly, your standards rise, not for others, but for yourself. You don't tolerate your own excuses. You don't abandon routines for temporary comfort. You don't lie to yourself to protect ego. And when ego stops leading, clarity does. You realize that peace is not found, it's maintained. Maintained through boundaries, maintained through habits, maintained through honest self-evaluation. This is why mind mastery is a daily practice, not a destination. You don't arrive, you reinforce. Every day you choose again. Discipline over impulse, clarity over chaos, effort over excuse. And every day you choose it, life becomes less reactive and more intentional. Not easier, but cleaner. Not lighter, but steadier. And that steadiness is what allows you to carry responsibility, ambition, and uncertainty without losing yourself in the process.